active program. You're going to want to show up and show us your smiles. And at certain points, we'll ask you to take yourself off mute to engage. So let me just get some housekeeping out of the way. Did everybody expect snow today?
Yes.
Guess when you don't. Looks like Fred is. Wow. Are you? Is that? That looks like a real. The trees are moving and everything. What's going on over there? Bushner, is that?
Hey, when it's snowing outside, you got to have something to make yourself feel a little bit better. It's a background.
All right. Well, looks good. So, as most of you know, this is a 12 installment program. There's going to be various different instructors, and these will last. They're scheduled for 3 hours. Sometimes they get done sooner, and sometimes they go on. I think originally Ignite was a 4-hour course. Each course is 4 hours. So we're going to look to get these done definitely within the 3 hours and maybe even a little sooner. First couple things that I want to go over is, kind of give you the overview of what Ignite is and what Ignite really should be. Basically, what Ignite is going to. Don't say something? Okay. It says here that there's one thing that can propel you forward in your career. What is it? And that's just anyone could take yourself off mute and answer that question. Say it again. There's one thing that can propel you forward in your career. What is it?
Your mindset.
Well, that's what this particular installment's all about, Maria. So thank you very much for saying that. Mindset is definitely a key factor, and probably the mortar, right? The mortar that holds it all together. The secret is simple, and it is not a secret at all. You guys are all going to love me for this one. And I didn't write this. I'm just reading it, so don't shoot the messenger. It is lead generation. Lead generation. And you're going to learn the skill in this course. So Gary Keller says that Gary Keller's the co-founder of Keller Williams Realty, that we're actually in two businesses in this order. The first is we're in the lead generation business. The second is we're in the business of real estate. So it's kind of just real simple when we break it down, as simple as that. And to Maria's answer, mindset and attitude matters. There's been a lot of discussion on lead generation, and I'm kind of reading through this. I've been reading through this throughout the weekend. This is the second time I'm delivering this session. It says here that lead generation will be making phone calls that are bothering or annoying people. We all feel that way, especially when we feel like we're being sold something. However, this is important, mindset and attitude. When we adopt the attitude of contribution, a significant shift will happen with respect to how people respond to you. And changing your mindset is absolutely imperative when it comes to lead generation. Adopting a mindset and a philosophy of contribution to the lives of other people allows you to be direct and to be right to the point. And I've noticed that, when I'm coming from contribution, I have no qualms about being really direct about saying certain things with respect to asking questions. I used to be very fearful of asking the question, how much do you owe on your mortgage? In fact, when I've spoken to a lot of agents, when we're going through scripting and so forth, a lot of agents feel the same way. Well, that's kind of personal. Why would I ask somebody what they owe on their mortgage? But if you're sincerely and genuinely coming from an area of contribution, it's like, you've been at a doctor's office and they're touching and probing and they're, feeling different, areas. And then they're asking certain questions and they just have no problem asking whatever question they want an answer to. A lot of times we just give them the answer to, right? So in order to deliver a first installment, which centers around mindset and attitude, they've asked me to just touch on the 6 personal perspectives. And they're saying here that the most successful at this business know it takes a certain mindset and attitude to keep it at it every single day, especially if they're going to excel. Fortunately, KW has a foundational model for successful mindset, which came into existence when Gary Keller asked the question of hundreds of top agents. And the question was, what is it that differentiates those who achieve at the highest level from those who don't seem to accomplish much? The 3 key components that they came up with was mindset, attitude, and the approach to life. So based on these 3 attributes, the 6 personal perspectives came into existence. Does anyone here, you can just raise your hand. Have you heard or been exposed to the 6 personal perspectives? Let me just screen. First personal perspectives commit to self-mastery. Self-mastery is the possession of great knowledge, skills, and habits that make you the master. When you commit to achieving self-mastery, you know your goals, first and foremost, know your strengths and weaknesses, and know how to work with both your strengths and your weaknesses to seek and master the necessary knowledge, skills, and habits to help you reach your goals. Number 2 is the commitment or to commit to the 80-20 principle. Who can tell me what the 80-20 principle is? Somebody tell me what the 80-20 principle is?
It's the 80-20 rule is the Pareto rule, which is you get 80% of whatever you're producing or work, whatever comes out of the 20% of effort that you put into it.
Exactly. And there is, Michael, you could attest to this, there to do when you have a real estate transaction. There's, if in the course of a day or a week, if you have 2 or 3 transactions going on at any given time, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts, a lot of people involved. I think they say there's 8 or 10 or 12 professionals who eat off of every transaction. You have attorneys, you have title people, you have mortgage lenders, you have inspectors, you have appraisers, you have another agent. There's so much involved with one transaction. Forget it if you're doing 2 or 3 or 4 at a time. And that could easily consume a vast majority of your time. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And most of that activity has nothing to do with making money. You've already got the contract in place. Most of it has absolutely zero to making money, to producing an ongoing income. Now, it doesn't mean that if there's challenges that come up in a deal that you don't have to address it, or it doesn't have to be addressed. It may not have to be addressed by you because there are other people involved in the transaction. But a number of those transactions have nothing to do with growing your business. In a schedule, you're going to find that if you time block your lead generation, and if you time block, let's just call it 2 hours a day, 2 hours a day into a 8 hour, what's the average work day now? What are we working? 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day? Someone give me a number.
Probably closer to 10, honestly.
Okay. Let's call it 9 hours. It's just about 20%, a little over. If you go 10 hours, it's 20%. So 2 hours a day of lead generation, if it's 10-hour work days, you're probably at 20% of your allotted time for work, which is dedicated towards one thing and one thing only, which is generating leads. And if we go back a page, Gary Keller says we're in two different businesses. The first business, we're in, Gary Keller, co-founder, says we're actually in two businesses in this order. The first business of lead generation, the second business of real estate. So the 80-20 rule is going to ask you to focus on your one thing 20% of the time, which will generate 80% of your results. The idea that 20% of your actual of your actions lead to 80% of your results may be one of the most powerful principles you can apply in your life. It's about getting the most from your time and effort. In Ignite, we identify your 20%, your money-making activities, lead generation. I hope you didn't expect anything different from what anyone who's in our coaching program that we talk about. And just so you know, I'm completely reading from the Ignite lesson plan, syllabus, whatever you call it, you know? So, number 3, move from E to P. Has anyone ever heard this term other than Aida and possibly Joe?
Yeah, be purposeful.
High achievers are always looking for the purposeful way. By doing this, they break through the ceiling of their natural behavior. Took me a while to understand this one. You can attain a certain level of success utilizing your natural abilities, but expect to hit a ceiling at some point. Wouldn't you like to achieve even greater success and a breakthrough? Ignite is the only thing that I know anyway, the only thing that is designed to help you start your business. It's designed to help you grow your business, and it's designed to help you become a purposeful business person versus just the entrepreneur. You'll kind of come to realize this through the program, that it's not simple. I mean, we're all entrepreneurs. Only a crazy person would get into a business that says, hey, you're going to do all this work, right? You're going to do all this work, you're going to invest all this time, and there's no guarantee of anything in return. That's the definition. That's my definition of entrepreneurship, right? So we're all entrepreneurs. The question is, do we do it in a purposeful manner? The being learning based, being able to slow down and to schedule and time block learning things into your schedule is being purposeful. Number 4, oh, wow, isn't that interesting? Make being learning-based the foundation of your action plan. That wasn't planned. Learning-based individuals, an individual who has made the decision to use effective learning as the foundational piece of their action plan to develop their life. Training and education are a big part of moving forward and attaining your goals and success at a very high level. Learning-based individuals commit to the process of acquiring skill-based habits. If you're taking notes, I would suggest you either download on your Audible app or buy the book called, Grit. Sorry, I was thinking of completely a different book. Grit, Grit, by Angela Duckworth. Or is it Duckworthy? I think it's Duckworth. Yeah. Angela Duckworth is amazing book, but it talks about being learning based and the art of purposeful practice. Number 5 is remove your limiting beliefs. These are things that we're going to talk about today. One of the shifts in lead generation for me was if I used to be sent these pictures of for sale by owners. My wife at the time would, it was my girlfriend at the time, would drive by and send me a picture of the for sale by owner sign, which I think is an ingenious way to capture the, you drive by, take the picture, and then you keep driving, and later on you get to the office and you look at that. And you know what I did with those pictures? Delete, delete, delete. I would never call the for sale by owner because my limited beliefs put me into this box. And I thought, for sale by owners, they don't like us. They don't respect us. They don't want to pay us. They're cheap. They're mean. They're rude. They're stupid. Who would try to sell their home themselves, by themselves? It's funny, as I'm getting ready to say more, I'm thinking, well, that's all kind of true, right? They're stupid, but it's not true. It's my belief. It's my limited belief, which prevented me from calling them. And then I watched an 8-minute video by Jeff Glover. If you want to write this down, this might help you. It's either FSBO. Just write Jeff Glover in your YouTube search engine. Jeff Glover FSBO or FSBO Jeff Glover. It's like 8 minutes and 4 seconds or 8 minutes and 5 seconds. Completely just stripped me of all my past beliefs. And wow. Now, I have no problem speaking to a for sale by owner. In fact, we've listed several of them, and we're getting, it's interesting how the statistics are. If you listen to that 8-minute video, you'll hear the statistics. And it is actually a video that if you transcribe what he's saying as far as the script is concerned, you'll have everything you need to do to set FSBO appointments. The statistics are there. I mean, they're legitimate. We're doing a for sale by owner now, which was listed at 270. We listed it at 268. Evan or Joe, what was that, 7-8 days ago? Yeah, about 8 days ago, showing it on the 18th. We already have 5 offers. The top offer is 305. We thought 285 was the top offer, but they just keep coming in. And so he's like, we spoke to the seller yesterday. He's like, I can't. He's like freaking out. He's like, I can't believe. I'm sure he's wondering if he's slowing down enough to wonder, like, how did I have it on the market for 270 in the offers? They had it on the market for 268, 880. and they're already at 305 with 6 or 7 offers. And we'll probably end up with like 7 or 8 or 9 offers. So my limiting belief would have prevented me from ever even entertaining working with that seller. So we're looking to get rid of those limited beliefs. In order to be successful and develop at a higher level, you will need to clear your mind of limiting beliefs first. Here's a couple limiting beliefs. For those of you who have not yet, raise your hands. How many have not yet done a transaction in real estate? And I'll assume some of the people who still haven't taken themselves off of witness protection program. I have to be, here's a limited belief. I have to be an expert to know everything before I can begin my business. I'm not valid yet. I don't think I can achieve a profit goal that will fund my life this year. You know, I've talked to a lot of people in PC coaching, and when I ask them, I ask them the question, it's December 31st, New Year's Eve, 2021. We run into each other at a party, and I said, hey, how was your year, your first year in real estate? And you said, amazing, amazing. What is the definition of amazing? And I've had a handful of people come back and say, well, this year I just want to look, and look, I'm all for this. Somebody told me one day, I wish you a very slow success in your career. I got mad at that person. And the reality is, I wish you all very slow success. The slower, build that foundation, go slow at it, rather than just run and try to become a millionaire next week, because you'll find yourself falling a little short. But their belief system seems to lead me to believe that they don't think until they really get a certain level of learning underneath their belt that they really can't do a decent amount of business. And that's just not true. Because I'm in the business will come to me naturally. I don't need to devote 3 hours a day to lead generation. I hear a lot of different limiting beliefs. It's funny how some of those limiting beliefs that Ignite, the MAPS coaching put in there, are actually some of the ones we hear. We're going to ask the question in a little while, how can we turn those limiting beliefs into a higher belief system? Be accountable. So that was remove your limiting beliefs. Be accountable. An accountable person says that everything in my life is a result of my choices and actions. I own it. That's all I'm going to say on accountability right now. So I mentioned this earlier in our call today, but they give us an outline on how to get the most out of this program or out of this experience. There's 3 different type of people. And you have begun the journey, he's saying here, towards sparking your business and attracting a lot of business to you. The training aspect of this is going to require patience and quite frankly, like that stick-to-itiveness. A lot of people will start a program like this, and by the 2nd or 3rd or 4th, the walkthrough at their home inspection was more important than this. There's always a reason for you not to want to show up, and I would offer that you should put this in your schedule and stick to it. But there's 3 different types of people who show up. The first is the prisoner. We talked about this earlier today. The prisoner has to be here, doesn't really want to be here, and doesn't know why they're here. They don't engage. They spend class time, either chatting it up, or you can't really chat here, or on their phone or returning emails. Escapes by spending time outside or potentially, again, I'm not judging anyone here. Maybe they're not on camera, and I know there's valid reasons why you might not be on camera. It's Zoom, so I get it. We'd appreciate it if you could be on camera, to be on camera, so we know that you're with us. Holds on to the limiting beliefs. I shared with everyone this morning. I did that during Bold. My first Bold, I just believed that I was above it. Multitasks while in class. Those are the prisoner. The vacationer. So the prisoner has to be here, doesn't know why they're here, and doesn't really want to be here in the first place, but they're here. The vacationer, it's a day of training is better than a day on the job. And then the explorer. The explorer is excited and curious about new knowledge, skills, and tools that they will discover in a class. They listen attentively, they participate fully in all the discussion and exercises. They ask meaningful questions that contribute to the ahas. So which one are you? Are you the prisoner, the vacationer, or the explorer? Hopefully I'll deliver a session which makes it you want to be the explorer and stay engaged. Does anyone have an Ignite manual? So I would ask that you email after this class. You email Christina and you ask her for the full download of the Ignite sessions. You should have the Ignite sessions with you. There are some forms and formats that you'll want to put your notes in. Just want to go over some expectations. As a student of Ignite, you're expected to complete the following. We expect you to declare your personal big why. We expect you to set a monetary goal in your CGI calculator. Does anyone not know what the Career Growth Initiative calculator, the CGI calculator is, or where to get it?
I don't know. This is Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
Hi.
Okay. Christina, I believe you're here. Is there a way for you to show us the CGI calculator, or at least give me sharing strength, sharing ability on my computer so I can get to it? Is there anybody out there? So we'll wait for a response on that. I am not the host of the meeting, so I can't share my screen. Declare your personal big why. Set your monetary goal in the Career Growth Initiative calculator, CGI calculator. Be accountable to your big why and monetary goal. And you use influencing sales language when you make your 3 business calls today. Well, we're going to be making calls today during class. You don't have any questions right now? Anyone having second thoughts? You can leave now. Brittany? Yeah. If you stay, we're all in this together. It's a chance now. When no one will judge you, you can leave. We'll laugh a little. No, we're not going to laugh at you. All right, we'll get that out of the way. Good. Let me just make sure I went over the ground rules. Throughout Ignite, this isn't just for my installment. This is for all the sessions. Arrive to class on time and return promptly from breaks. Be fully present. They suggest here you turn your laptops, tablets, iPhones, or Blackberries on vibrate or off altogether. And are you laughing, Mohammed, because we don't use Blackberries anymore? Yeah, I'm reading from the old version. Turn them on vibrate. How you participate. I've got this at Keller Williams, and I'm glad they put it here because I love it. How you participate in here is how you participate everywhere. Respect the different learning styles and options of others. Help each other learn because none of us are or is as smart as all of us working together. Basically, if you have any ahas, share your ahas with us. Consider everything we discuss confidential. Commit to implementing at least one thing you learn. And one of the most important rules is have fun. I want to go real quick and show you the CGI calculator, and I want to show you how to find it. So just bear with me 1 second. I will get you up here on my screen. So you're going to log into KW, your dashboard. See if I know how to get to this real quick. We go to command. Log in. What do I do? Log into command. How do I get rid of this? Bear with me 1 second. Actually, I think it's education. Let's go to education. Yep. So let me go back. So you're going to log into your dashboard. This is your dashboard, right? When you log into your dashboard, you'll see this. And you'll go up here to education. Click on education. Click on growth. And here you have growth, the career growth initiative. And within the career growth initiative, there should be a link that says full calculator. Full calculator. Well, that's you. From my accent. So, and then, your calculator will then, there's a way here to set your goal. See here? That's a little bullseye. And we're going to go over this on paper, but this is a pretty cool way to submit your goals. And the goal this will then, when you submit it, what is this, 40,000 profit? So when you submit it, It's telling me down here, listings taken. I need to take 65 listings this year, 6 per month, in order to achieve my goals. And there's a lot more to it, obviously, right? In order for me to achieve 65 listings taken, I need to sit down with 85 people. Anyway, that's your CGI calculator. If you still don't have know exactly how to get to it, just ask. We're happy to go over that later with you. All right. Nobody's has any questions at this point? Let me get you guys back on screen. Okay. Make sure there's some things in the chat. I just want to make sure. Okay. In the chat box, there are PDFs, student resource PDFs. So take a minute. I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes. I've just downloaded one. I just want to see what it is. It's probably what I spoke about earlier. Yep. So this is what we have available to you if you go ahead and download it. So let me go ahead and just review this with you real quick. So this was actually supposed to go out to you, and I don't know if everyone got this, and if everyone got it, great. I don't think everyone got this. But review this. Make sure you're all teed up for Wednesday's course. Christina, do we have Gary Keller's Ignite?
We have the session.
It's like a 1 minute and 24-second video.
Let me see.
And then the video on the 6 personal perspectives.
I sent
Perspectives.
one to Joe, there was only one that I found from the Ignite website this morning. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Okay.
It looks like the links are built into the PDF.
I thought so, but they didn't open. So.
It opened when I just clicked it.
The play button,
Oh.
correct?
Yeah, if you allow it, it'll connect you right to the.
Okay, let me allow. Can you hear this?
Is the volume up?
Can you hear it?
When you shared your screen, did you share audio?
Oh,
Unless you have a headpiece in or something, Eric, it might only be coming through that.
I do not. Hold on. Share audio.
Yeah, the bottom left, if you're on, if you're Mac, if you're PC, I don't know where it is. There should say share audio when you share the screen.
I'm on a PC. Let me just see something real quick. Give me more music or. No. Okay. Well,
Eric, if you're on a PC, you see on the lower left where it says mute and there's like a little arrow pointing up.
yep.
you can click on audio settings. Do you see that?
Yep,
And then share screen.
yep.
And now we got to figure out where the audio is. I know it's in this area here. Oh, no, go above share screen where it says audio.
Yep.
No, that might not be it. Do you have a button that shares, that says share screen in the middle of your lower?
Yep.
Click on that. And then go to advanced. Do you see something that says advanced?
Yep. Yep.
You see share screen and audio?
Let me try it again. Am I sharing with you guys right now?
No.
Nope, we see your beautiful face.
Nah,
Sorry.
it should work.
You hear it now?
No.
Okay. I don't waste any time with this. This is what I wanted to avoid. But so yeah, you'll have to review those videos on your own.
Did I miss anything? I'm sorry, I jumped on late. Did I miss anything as far as anything emailed or PDFs or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
There is a PDF in the chat. If you open up the chat,
Mhm.
if you scroll up, you'll see student resource. And that will get you to your PDFs. There's two of them. One is the actual Ignite session.
Mhm.
Christina, this is not the entire Ignite, right? This is just today's session.
Yeah,
Right.
this is just session 1.
Okay.
Right, so there are two PDFs in the chat box. The first one is the actual session for today.
Mhm. I do not see that. I apologize. And I think Caroline doesn't see it either.
Yeah, you would open the chat box where it says chat,
Mhm.
and then if you scroll up, you'll see it. A lot of people are speaking. Has everyone else gotten the ability to grab those PDFs if you choose to?
I think that if you come on after it was sent, the chat box might be erased. So they might not be able to see it. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I can send it again though in the chat. Yeah, I think they're sending it again.
So we're going to talk about some of the skills and specifically 4 skills. First off, what is your job? Let's just review real quick. What is your job? Anyone?
To facilitate a client in the biggest transaction that they're probably ever going to do.
To generate leads.
Yeah.
I'm saying to solve problems.
Yep. Lead generation, number 1. Who is your customer? Everyone. And no one if you don't lead generate. What is your product? What is your product? It's a good question.
Yourself.
Say it again, Carolina.
Yourself. You're pretty much selling yourself to a buyer or seller.
In a way, yeah. Your knowledge, your expertise, and your ability to deliver an incredible experience. I know there's a handful of people at the very least on this call who has showed properties. And when you're selling a home, I mean, Aida, there's a lot of people, but I'll go to Aida because I see her right in the middle of my screen. when you go to sell a house as a real estate agent, after you open the door, I mean, what do you do? I mean, do we actually sell homes or do they sell themselves?
Oh, it's ourselves and our knowledge.
Right. The consumer, needs an agent for that knowledge and experience and expertise. But at the end of the day, we don't sell homes. I don't know if there's anything I could ever say to anyone here when I take you into a house to get you to like it or want it if you don't when you first walk into it. You'll know right away as a buyer. So the skills, skill number one is to know your big why and your monetary goal. Skill number two is commit to daily lead generation. Skill number three is to use influencing sales language. And skill number four is to be accountable to your big why and your goal. I went over that. All right, know your big why. So if you don't have, it might actually be beneficial if you pulled up the student resource number one, the 2.4 megabyte. That is the actual download for the session. I'm on page 19. I believe page 19 is the right page if you did want to play along at home. Let me just see something real quick. Student resource number one. Just going to open that up so I make sure that if you so choose to, that we're on the same page.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Skill number one, know your big why and monetary goals.
19, here we go. Yep, skill number one, know your big why and monetary goals. This is basically a reality check, guys. It'll help us get to the bottom of the reason that you're in real estate. It's time to be brutally honest with yourself. I hear a lot of examples why people got into real estate. And for most of us, it's, we're kind of pushed into something else because our first career changed for some reason. Could be the economy, could be we were downsized, it could be that, we hated our job for the last 5 of the 20 years we were doing it. And, this just came up and we're like, okay, I'll give real estate a shot. I think a large percentage of the people, it's not their first career. Okay. But this is a reason, or should I say, an opportunity to get honest with yourself and brutally honest. The big why is something that you have to be able to articulate. They do say that the top achievers, it says it here, the top achievers, that's not what it says. It's somewhere in this manual, it'll tell you that top achievers always know their big why. Always know their big why. I'm just making sure that I don't skip this because I want to go over. That's what it says on the next page, on page 20. Top achievers can all articulate their big why, and you will be able to as well. So the things that we want to go over on this one is you want to have your financial success tied directly to your efforts instead of a salary. You want to build your own business and you want to achieve a bigger life through your business. Let me go back to this PDF. So this is the part where we're going to go ahead and I'm going to ask you to answer these questions. And we're going to give you 5 minutes to do this. 5 minutes may not even scratch the surface, but I just want to get the juices flowing, so to speak. So on page 21, if you're following along at from the manual on your screen, the first question is, what is your why? What is your driving motivation, your goal for a career in, I can't speak today, in a career in real estate? Take a few minutes. What is your big why? What is your driving motivation or your goal for your career in real estate? Always found this to be quite corny to do it around it. And then I get myself to do it anyway. What will achieving your goal mean for you? Wow. In what ways will that change your life? I'm going to give you a few more minutes. Take your time.
Are we supposed to write this in the chat or we just write it at home?
Write it at home.
Okay.
And then I'm going to ask 1 or 2 people to share. Uh-oh. What's your big why? To make a lot of money? Is it about? It is. Do you want to help people? This is not why you got into real estate per se, because I always hear that people get into real estate because they're people. I'm a people person. I like people. Very few veterans in the business, you'll hear them saying, "Oh, I love people." So I'm going to share something with you while you're finishing up. Has anyone ever seen this in my office?
I've never been in your office.
Fair enough.
I have not seen that.
What's that?
I didn't see that one.
You didn't see that one.
Mm-mm.
This was a big why. And by the way, your target may move on you and shift, and things may change. And 4.5 years ago, 2017, early 2017, I created this. And what this says is that my team here, where is it? Right here. This is my team. Will be responsible for building out 8 different regions. And in each region, I'll have at least four teams within each region. So I'll have 32 different teams. Each team might have 2, 3, 4 people on it. And that will then help fund the ability to put money away for a real estate investment trust. The real estate investment trust will be responsible for acquiring over $50 million in real estate. These are like these big goals, right? It'll also, the network, the M1 Real Estate Network will be comprised of 150 expansion teams eventually, 450 partners, 10,000 closed units, 3.8 billion in sales, 100 million in GCI, and $14 million in profit. Oh, that's really good. I got great imagination. And then that would help fund the Real Investment Trust, and also help me fund La Isla Americana, a Cuban coffee house chain that I want to start. And I want to do this Cuban coffee house chain. And after I have, the first four company-owned units, I'll start franchising it. And I'll spare you the numbers on that. You'll wonder, what they were passing around at that party when I did this. And I still want to open up a Cuban coffee house, despite Joe's urging me not to, that you don't want to be in the food business. And then all these different hats that I wear will all come down to one thing. I want to write a screenplay. I want to write 3 screenplays, actually. My big why was to be able to fund my passion for writing. And then almost 3.5 years ago, I had a baby. I didn't have a baby, but you know what I mean. We had a baby. And so some of those things had a shift, but my big why is to create the security and the environment for my children, so that they can, learn and be happy and productive. And again, as much as I can contribute to that, to create that environment, or the environment where they can, grow up to be happy children, and really, by the time I'm 55, to be able to spend a lot more time with them. I could talk about the legacy and all that, but I think this being my big why from early 2017, and I'd say about 40% of the things on this page don't pertain to me anymore. The passion to open a coffee house, the passion to write screenplays are still there. The passion to invest in real estate, and really to affect people's lives, and that's the impetus behind having a big team. It's the inclusion of my children have to come into that picture now. Somebody share their big why.
Yeah, okay, Eric, I'll jump in if you want.
Thanks, Fred.
My big why is to gain more control over my personal life and my personal financial goals.
Okay. Say it one more time.
Okay, I want to gain more control over my personal life, meaning time, and my personal financial goals.
What will achieving your goal mean for you?
Okay, it means I'll have more time to spend with family and enjoy my hobbies.
And in what ways will having more time with your family and enjoying your hobbies, what ways will your life change?
Yeah, well, it'll give me less stress because I'll have more control over everything.
And what doors will open for you when that happens? Not if, when that happens.
Okay, it'll give me a happier and healthier lifestyle.
That's all we want, right, guys? We want to be happy and healthy so we can enjoy it for as long as possible. Does anyone else want to go run through that real quick?
Sure,
One more person.
I'll jump in.
Go, Mike.
My big why really was to build generational wealth through owning properties and maybe a successful business, if this can turn into it. Something that I not only like, hey, I have money and I worked hard and I, invested, but actually something I could leave to my kids. And that kind of changes, I don't have to, achieving that means I don't have to worry about a regular income as much because now I have something a little more stable. And then that allows me to do the creative projects that I want to do that don't necessarily, who knows if they'll make me money, but it allows me to take those risks when I don't have to worry about income.
So going to the first one again, generational wealth, was there a dash?
I think through the process of building a business and owning properties,
Right, so through the process of running a business and owning properties, so part of your big why is to leave that generational wealth to your kids.
Correct.
And by achieving that, it'll mean what to you?
For me, it'll lead to not having to stress about regular income like that, and lets me take risks and work on other projects that I want to do that may not be income really driven things.
In what ways will your life change? What way will it change from what it is today or what it was yesterday?
I think it's a lot of, I can't say reducing stress, right? Because if I own a bunch of property, it's a ton of work, right? But at the same time, it's predictable and I get to be the boss then. I'm not working for somebody else for a paycheck. So I think that's a big part of it.
When you identify your big why and then go granular, go real, like peel back the onion, if I can sit there and do a coaching session with Michael and say, so what is your 3-year goal? What is your 5-year goal? Your 10-year goal? And what is your someday goal? I was coaching with an agent and she said that her and her husband wanted to buy a second vacation property in Miami. That's where they like to go every year. They want to buy a vacation property. So great. What does a condo cost? The one I want is probably like $600,000. Okay. When do you want to buy? And then I stumped her. 5 years. Okay. Look, I had conversations with agents I have conversations with agents all the time. Another husband and wife team wanted to open a dog, not grooming, but I don't know. So, what's that? Voice in my head.
So talking to me about that, it was like a daycare, right?
Yeah, everything: daycare, shelter, boarding, all that stuff. And again, they also wanted 5 years. And then the question is whether it's a condo or opening that business. Well, what do you need in order to get that going? What do you need to buy? Well, 25% of $600,000 is $150,000. Great. So over 5 years, you're planning to save 30,000 a year. Again, it really makes things a little bit easier. I'm working right now on a new spreadsheet for my particular revenue streams, and piecemealing out or partitioning the money so that I can say, okay, out of a $32,000 check, $8,000 is going to stay in my business account. $4,000 is going to go into my account for taxes. $2,000 is going to go into my short-term savings. $2,000 is going to go into my emergency fund, and $2,000 is going to go into investments, and then the balance is going to go into my budget. We live off of. And it kind of gets OCD-ish for those who aren't OCD. For those of us who are a little OCD, it's kind of normal, but it's necessary, in my opinion. Because again, you be very careful. You'll be 10 transactions deep, and you'll be like, look back, you're like, oh, was I, because you get that check, you put it into the bank account, and through that, you pay for some of the shiny objects that the myriad of salespeople are calling you on to distract you and say, hey, you don't want to ever lead generate again? Buy into our program. It's only $1,000 a month or whatever. And all of a sudden you start allocating monies and you pay some bills, and you realize that maybe you didn't put away for the taxes, which is your first business partner, the government, But I think it's important so that you can have all that planned out and focus your energy on what your big why is and your mission to accomplish that. Good. I'm just making sure that we cover what I want to cover here. On page 22, there's a continuation of the big why and writing your answers down. I really urge you to do this. I urge you to do it. I like this, page 22. Using the camera on your phone, take a picture of your big why, that you wrote down, and use it as your new background, so that you'll see it and be reminded of it every time you touch your phone. Interesting. Gary Keller's mantra. How many people have it's not on my desk. How many people have the Red Book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent? Gary Keller's his mantra is think big, act bold, live large. My virtual assistant shared with me give me a second, I'm pulling it up. Where is it? Up? There he is.
I'm sorry, excuse me. Did you repeat the title of the book again for the Red Book?
Sure. It's The Millionaire Real Estate Agent.
Okay. Thank you.
And it looks similar to this. The textbook. So my assistant sent me this picture. This is a picture of we bought him a corkboard that he could put in front of behind his computer on the wall, so he has his scripts there. And I noticed on his corkboard, I don't know if you can see that, he has a motorcycle and a car, picture of a car. And originally I'm like, that's not meant for pictures. I want scripts up there. And I go, oh, wait a minute. I mean, all in a split second. That's his motivation. Of course I want his motivation there. And so I encourage you to take some time to think about what really motivates you. Is it time with your kids? Is it time away from your kids? See Elisa smiling, oh, Caitlin, you know. Those of us with the younger ones, it's like that dichotomy of wanting them to then saying, all right, you take them out. Yeah. I kind of everyone's like, yeah. Is it, you know, being able to have someone you trust live with you 24/7 in a nanny room or whatever it's called, different quarters. No, you don't want that. You know, and being able to say, okay, hey, I'm running to here, I'm running to there. I don't want to schlep and take the kids in tow. Is it, you know, building, you know, our previous fearless CEO, Mary Beth, created, or not created, she, with her profit share, some of her profit share, certainly not all of it, she built a, renovated a house in, I think, South Amboy, Perth Amboy, and it's a home called the Boyd, I think it's called the Boyd home, Boyd House, and it's the home for like half a dozen or more single moms who fell onto hard times or recovery or whatever, you know, and they live there and they live for free and they pretty much eat for free. And it's like, that's her why. She wanted to give back. So what's the motivation for you? I have a board. It's not here, it's at home. And on that board, there's boats and there's homes and there's, you know, some language that speaks to me about, you know, writing screenplays. What's your big why? If it's a monetary goal, you know, I would always go back to why? Why is that important? All right. Now we're going to get into some fun part. Most people who are in coaching went over this with me. Not everybody. The Marcus Center, like we said earlier on, provides a CGI calculator. That's when I went to education, and from education, I went to growth. And underneath that, I was able to tap into the Career Growth Initiative. So I think the CGI calculator is one of the best ways, and you obviously can print that out once you've come up with it. They used to make that station like static. You couldn't change it. Once you set it for the year, it couldn't be changed. I think they've since gone away with that. They want you to be able to, you know, after 3 months, if you look and say, wow, I instead of doing 36 deals a year, I think it'll be a little bit more realistic if I pace myself to do 25 deals a year. So you can change it. Or I set myself at 25. It's the end of February and I've already done 7 deals. Maybe I want to increase it to 36. So you're able to do that. So if you go, if you have it in front of you, great. If you go to the, here, I'm going to share my screen. Maybe. So if you go here, we're on page 23. And we're going to start getting a little bit quicker on these pages here because I can see that we're a little bit past halfway through. Oh, wait, we're going to, yeah, so we want to know your commissions, or you want to know your commissions. What is the average price point we're working in, guys? Give me three answers.
400,000 to 500,000?
Someone else?
390 to 436.
Get specific on us, huh?
That's on my economic model.
Well, you probably pulled that from last year's numbers, so.
Easy.
Who else? One more.
I have 330 to 350.
Ironically, I think your transactions are double that, right?
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah.
350. I'm going to come up with 415, just as an average number in our market. 415, which stands to reason. I think last year it was like 395, but market's up right now. So if you put an average sales price in of 415, average commission what number you want to use for commission? Three answers.
3%.
Okay, 3.
2 and 3. No, 2 and a quarter.
Okay, one more. I'll say it, 3.5. So 2.91. If you're wondering how to get paid 3.5% commission on your side of the transaction, private message me, and if more than 6 people private message me, we'll put together a price for that. So if you take 415 and you multiply it times 2.91%, you're at 12,076 for the GCI. We're all $20,000, right? With our caps. Oh, your cap's not 20? I'm joking. This is for like Alabama somewhere or Ohio, not the Northeast. Hold on, I'm getting a notification of something here. Chat. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So 35,000 for the market center, $3,000 for KWRI comes to $38,000. Keep that where you want it. Keep that over there for now. If you look at your 30% for every transaction, 30%, 30-70 split. If your average commission is 12,076 times 30%, your average company dollar from that deal is going to be 36.22. I'll make it 36.28, and your 3% is going to be 362. We're leaving off the pennies. 362 plus 36.28 is 39.90. Which is a net of 8086. If we scroll down to the next page, I think there's one other page after this. Yeah. So those are where your number's going to go. So that $8,080, $86. If your goal is to make $100,000 a year net, it would take, we're going to round it to 13 transactions. There's a lot of people who've already done this. Some of you have not done it. Some of you will refuse to do it. I would encourage you to do it. I would encourage you to get clarity as to what you need to achieve your goal. If Michael and Jen Shalari want to build generational wealth, it starts right here. As benign as this may seem, or as annoying and a waste of time as this may seem, if the Shalaris know that they're going to adjusted net, we haven't accounted for any of the coaching that goes into their business, because there's going to be some other business expenses, but we'll put those as operational costs. But if the Shalaris know that their ultimate goal in 5 years is to own 5 investment properties, to buy one a year, to build that generational wealth. Michael, I'm glad Jen's not here. I could ask, how old are you?
I'm 33.
33, you're a young guy, good. So by the time he's my age, 20 years down the road, if he puts a goal together to buy, do you have a goal on that? Do you have a goal on how many properties you want to buy every year, or?
No, we're still just figuring it out. We want to try to
good.
buy our first this year.
All right, the first. Start with 1.
Yep.
And it may be a situation where they're like, oh yeah, 1 a year sounds like a good number. Or, I know they have close friends who are buying properties all the time. Sidebar, hang around or be friends with people who have what you want, not so you can take it from them, but so you can, it rubs off. Birds of a feather flock together. But it really starts here, because if the Shalaris get really, really clear on what each transaction will net them, and they understand that they can take 10% from every transaction and allocate it towards the investment fund, so that at the end of the year, at the end of 6 months, they'll have 25% to buy their first investment property. It's almost like you're gamifying it. You're making it, you're putting some parameters on, or some, I don't know parameters, but you know what I'm getting at. So you might want to look at that. I'm going to ask that that everyone do this and write down this email address: NJRE Pro, NJRE Pro @gmail. And send that to me by the end of tomorrow. NJRE Pro, you could do this, or if you choose to, you could do a full economic model. I will not be upset if you do a full economic model. And send that to me before Tuesday's over. Let's take a breather for a minute. Any ahas so far? Share with me a couple ahas.
Top achievers always know the big why.
I think some of these principles, if you've done other careers in your life, you've probably used some of these principles, and you can just move them over and then actually learn more about real estate and still incorporate them.
Give me one that you're looking at.
Accountability.
Right.
It's like tapping into all the unlimited potential we have this brokerage by tapping into all of the trading programs.
Let's stop for accountability for a minute and understand what Susan, right? Yeah. Susan.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Make sure. I don't know if I need them or take them off. Susan. So what do you mean by that? It's interesting that you say that. I mean, and I don't want to go too far in my thought process, but we know that if you work for, I don't know, name a company.
I worked for UPS in the past, and I believe accountability goes along with your work ethic. And I believe that is strongly connected to being a great salesperson.
And at UPS, they have accountability built right into it.
Mhm.
I mean, every company does, especially if you're in sales, But if you're a nurse, anyone previous teachers in this world? I think we have one or two somewhere. Yeah. Is there accountability when you're a teacher?
There's a ton of accountability when you're a teacher. You have accountability to your students, their families, the administration. I would even say to your coworkers too.
And in real estate, we get our real estate license. We choose where we want to hang in and who we want to partner with as far as the firm or the brand brokerage. And then we go out and tell a whole bunch of people that we're licensed realtors. If you know anyone looking to buy or sell real estate, let me know, which is what we're supposed to do. And in many cases, there's nobody to hold you accountable to anything. You have to hold yourself accountable. And usually we don't make the best accountability partners with ourselves, right? Usually we'll be able to, if my mission is to lose 30 pounds and I don't have an accountability partner, somebody, I'll eat my favorite snack at 10 o'clock at night. It's my favorite snack. Let's see that. It's only got 4 ingredients. They're not fun. But again, I shouldn't be eating that at 10 o'clock at night. So I have to have an accountability partner. One more aha.
Hope for a slow success or be okay with
Say it one more time.
to be okay with a slow success or hope for one. Not be upset if I don't make $1 million this year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here comes the fun.
I could add something, Eric, if you don't mind.
Sure.
It's amazing that so many recipes for success at anything. Name the occupation, name whatever it is that we're talking about. Always starts with the end in mind. It's permeating through everything. It's like because I do a lot of reading, a lot of different things, and if it's business, if it's personal, if it's whatever, it's like where do you want to be? Okay, now that you have that, how do you get there?
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
Yeah, start with the end in mind is really cool. In fact, it's one of Gary's mantras. It's one of our goal setting processes to start with that end in mind, and then work backwards from it. Gets a little bit easier to identify the milestones you need to hit in order to achieve what you're going to achieve. All right, here we go. Journey to your monetary goal. So let me just get on the right page here. Commit to lead generation. How important is the lead generation?
Top of the list.
Number 1.
Fred, how long you been in business, real estate?
I've been in since '94.
So you're new to the group.
Absolutely new to the group. And that wasn't 1894.
1994. So quite a bit of years. Anyone else been in the business a long time? Got me beat. You know, I didn't do this, but can you just raise your hand if you've had your license less than a year? Keep your hand up. Keep your hand up. Keep it up. Less than a year. Okay. So a vast majority of us, 2 to 5 years? Any 2 to 5 years? Okay, no, 6 to 10 years? And then 10 or above. Fred, Aida, myself. Who else is on there? Paul, Andrew. All right. So Fred said it. It's Fred. Would you say how? I said how important is it?
Lead generation is at the top of the list. I mean, if we go back to what you were saying earlier, I always thought of real estate not as selling real estate or listing properties. I always felt that that was a byproduct of your marketing activities. So lead generation, if you're not doing lead generation, you're not going to go list properties or sell properties.
So let's look at what has to happen in order to be purposeful in your lead generation. Everyone has a different schedule. When COVID hit a year ago, this time a year ago, you know, everything got kind of turned upside down. And about 4 months in, it was probably May or June, I was speaking with 2 agents who I think are on this call, Maria Zamlut and Saray, separately. And I hope, guys, you don't mind. Maria, are you there? Can you hear me?
I hear you.
And Saray, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here.
So, and I hope you guys don't mind, you know, just say yes or no. When COVID hit and your kids were home, it kind of got like, oh no, what am I going to do now, right? How am I going to even figure this out? And I don't say we came up with, but I suggested a time block schedule. Do you remember that, Maria? Where I suggested
I remember.
Yeah. And it was interesting because I had the conversation with Maria, and then a couple days or a week later, incidentally, I just happened to be speaking to Saray, and she not complained, but she was lamenting over the same challenges that Maria and I had talked about in the conversation I had with Maria. And then I shared the same thing with Saray. So, you know, a lot of people have other responsibilities. There's probably people on this call that are dual career, agents, that they not only sell real estate, but they also do that other thing that really pays the bills right now. And then some of you are stay-at-home parents, moms, dads, whatever. So you really have to figure that out. And yet here in the Ignite material, they're suggesting a lead generation 2 hours a day. Now, again, we haven't really gotten into the different types of lead generation, but there are many ways to do lead generation. But if you tend to agree with what Fred said, is that it's at the top of the list, then you'd be in a good starting position with your mindset. I just want to ask, maybe you give me 3, 4, or 5 answers. Give me the different types of ways to lead generate.
Circle prospecting.
Circle prospecting. So when you say circle prospecting, you mean by phone or in person?
Getting on the phone.
Okay. So good old fashioned phone calls, cold calling, right? Circle prospecting is cold calling. What's another?
EDDM, like mailers.
EDDM. Does everyone, who here does not know what EDDM stands for? Come on, put them up. Everyone knows what EDDM stands for? Most people. Every door direct marketing or mailers. So if you go to the US Postal Service website and you then go to the business, there's like a link for businesses, and then there's EDDM. EDDM is a little bit more time consuming, but a lot less expensive than just doing mailers.
Yeah.
This is an EDDM postcard. Oh. And on the back, it has this little prepaid postage. And it's significantly less expensive than, printing up 100 postcards and then getting and doing it. It's a little bit more time consuming. You have to bundle them up in 100 packages each. But the cool thing is you can pick little sections within a particular town. So if you say, hey, we want to do Upper Montclair, we don't want to do all of Montclair, we just want to do Upper Montclair 07043, not 07042. And so 07043, I'm going to click those 6 zones. Like when I did Nutley, I think was $400 a month.
I have a question with that.
Yes.
What are the stats on the return for doing that kind of investment in marketing? I mean, with all these different ideas, is there information that we could look at to see?
So I'm sure there is. I can't give you the official, but I can tell you with certainty, absolute certainty, every single time I've done a mailer, the EDDM is just one way. Like circle prospecting is just one version of cold calling. So I'm just going to say cold calling. EDDM is just one way to do direct mail campaigns. And so I've done handwritten letters. So I've handwritten letters. Well, I handwrite the one letter and then I photocopy it, right? And then I handwrite every envelope. Oh, it's grueling. Well, actually, I don't write it. Someone else writes it. It's someone who you can actually read their handwriting, right?
I was about to say, what if your handwriting sucks like this guy?
Yeah, you have your wife or your daughter or somebody else do it. Somebody who actually has, preferably a female who has better handwriting than you. And so, but what happens? That's just another way to do it. And EDDM is another way to do it.
I have a question to go off of what Susan was asking. When you did the EDDM mailers, and then she asked about return on investment, did you also do handwritten notes to those same people too? So you were hitting them more than once? So
I can't tell, or hitting them more than once? No, but the EDDM goes more than once. Okay. So a direct mail campaign, once you start something, just don't do it once. If you're going to do a direct mail campaign, let's say for this discussion's sake, it's EDDM, and let's say you want to hit, I don't know, 300, this zone of 300 homes in this area of town. And out of that 300 homes, it's going to cost you $212 each time you do it. Let's just say, totally random, arbitrary numbers. If it's going to cost you $212, you want to budget at least $1,200 for that program and buy them in bulk and then make sure you do it for at least 6 months, every month for 6 months.
You can see the perplexity in my face. Like, I don't know if you can, but I'm thinking we're going to bombard the same people with mailers for every month for 6 months.
So I'm glad you said it that way.
Because
gives me-
right
Oh,
now I would be annoyed as the person, the consumer getting that, because I would take it and keep throwing it out.
Okay.
But again,
And
that
let
might be
me-
my
good.
limited belief. That might be my limited belief.
You nailed it. You nailed it. I'm going back to my other papers that we talked about earlier and saying, where's the limiting belief? So let's unwrap that for a minute, because I appreciate that, because I had the same way about FSBOs. For sale by owners? The heck with you, you know? And at the end of the day, you are right. It's annoying to you. You throw them in the garbage or cut them up and use them for little shovels for your sesame and poppy seeds on a Sunday morning to clean off the table of the bagels and stuff. Yeah, I mean, you know, that's what it is. It's garbage to you. And so you think other people think the way you think. And guess what? Even if 98% of those people believe the way you believe and 2% don't, what did we say? 200 people? How many people were we going after?
They were
300?
doing 300 homes at 212, and I was
And at
already
2%,
calculating.
that's 6 deals.
I was even thinking if you got one deal, that would, yeah,
I mean, you know,
you're still making out.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. Most people don't care. Most people don't get all flustered over it. Most people will throw them in the garbage, and that's okay. Because what's going to happen is this. The reason why you do it over 6 months minimum, commit to doing it, is that the cheesy, and I call it cheesy, recipes, Fred's been in the business since '94. He knows all about the recipes, the magnet calendars for the. I mean, I can't tell you how many houses. Now the good news is I've taken a lot of listings where, you know, XYZ CB or Weichert or Remax agent little calendar is on the refrigerator. So that there is a hierarchy, is that the way I say it, of lead gen. What's more effective than others? I personally believe that cold calling is the most effective way to do it. And yet there's more than one way. But when you do it over and over again, and you're consistent, time on task over time, what'll happen is, you know, Fred's been at his house for 47 years. And, you know, for as long as he can remember, he's getting Eric's stupid recipes in the spring, his spring salads, and his autumn, you know, whatever. And, you know, he even maybe made one of those, you know, and, but for the most part, it's like, oh, this guy again. But I can assure you, top of mind, tip of tongue. Top of mind, tip of tongue. And eventually, when Fred decides he wants to move to you know, wherever people move to, right? And if he doesn't have somebody he's married to mentally, emotionally, or whatever with respect to real estate, you're the person getting the business. Not going to have to look far. He's probably even keeping that calculator, even though it's 2 years old. Yeah, well, I want it for the information. I'm going to sell my house soon. When? Well, no, 5 years. I've gotten that. Oh, yeah, we're thinking of selling soon. Oh, when? 3 to 5 years. That's not too soon. But they think about it. So it's an investment, and you'll stumble over the 1 or 2 or 3 who will actually call you out. And then you'll also build up that awareness of other people. So it is a what do you call that? That's Susan,
Direct mailer?
no, you said it and I was going to look for it. My first initial says stinking thinking. That's your stinking thinking. But it's what is it called again? I'm looking for it.
Limited beliefs.
Limited beliefs. Yep. Or as we like to affectionately call it, stinking thinking. We all have it. So don't let that, you know, Do you see how the limited beliefs can be turned into empowering beliefs? Because the limited belief, and I don't mean to beat this dead horse here, but a limited belief is, oh, aren't people going to get annoyed? And I'm with you. I get it, Susan. I'm not making fun of you at all. Ugh, I get it. And if I go down that limited belief, I'm dead in the water. But what's the flip side of that coin? The flip side of that coin is, out of 300 people, if only 1% responds in the next year. Let's go back to our original GCI of 12,076. 12,076. And let's say 3 people respond, but I'm not really that good of a closer, and I only close 2 out of 3. That's $24,000. And oh, by the way, I don't know what it costs. I forget what EDDM costs, but if 300 people, it ends up costing you 70 cents times 300, $210 was my guess, times 12, $2,500. It's a $24,000 gross profit. So that's a 10 times return on investment. In my book, that's a really good return on investment. If you cut that in half and only did 1 a month, you'd say, can I do that in 5 other areas? Let me spend $1,000 a month, right? You just scale, and guess what? You can scale that once it's working, but you can't scale it after 1 month, and you can't quit. Evan will tell you, he quit, changed his schedule after 3 weeks of, the schedule didn't really feel right, so I'm changing my schedule again. Stick to it. Commit to doing it, and commit for at least 6 months. Then and only then will you have an ability to extract some real data from it. Does it work? Does it not work? What tweaks must I do in order to get it to work better? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I just turned over the rest of the plan like we were done. Anyone want to just quit now?
Eric, I got a quick question, right? You said there was 4, if I'm correct, you said there was 4 legs to that stool as far as generating prospecting. I'm sorry.
Oh, did too.
There only really got to 2.
Actually, our last call was about the different types of lead generating. I'm surprised you guys not inputting more. So if you want me to read real quick, what we have from last call, social media, sphere of influence, contacting vendors like attorneys that might be in this field, or mortgages, title companies, anybody who's in real estate field, for sale by owners, expireds, open houses, volunteering, circle prospecting you mentioned, in farming you just mentioned, just listed, just sold, door knocking, parties for past clients. To be honest, this list is way longer than this. This is just, something that comes to, first thing that comes to our mind. So there is no shortage of it, guys.
There are so many different ways to lead generate. Thank you, Aida. There are so many different ways to lead generate. My suggestion is pick 3 to 5. And then use those in your GPS, and use your GPS to then create a schedule, a time block schedule. So the first thing we do is I always look to the left, and you guys don't know why I'm looking to the left, but if you've been in my office, I will look up here. So, is you do an economic model, is what I asked you to do, which is this. You'll do this. You'll understand how many units you need to do. And then you'll create a GPS. What's your goal? Well, you know that in order to make the money you need to make, in order to have your life you want to have, you need to do X amount of deals. And if it's 25 deals for the year, then you're going to say, okay, well, what are the 3 ways that I will go after those 3 deals, or I will find those deals? Andrea said, she said, circle prospecting. I know she does for sale by owners, so, cold calling could be one of them. Okay, what are you gonna do your cold calling? 2 hours a day. There's 8 hours in a day at the very least. We're in real estate, so there's probably 10, and we're in real estate, so out of those 10, there's probably 2 that we could kind of go underneath the radar and, go on Facebook, because they could just say we're doing social media stuff. And guess what? Who's your accountability partner? Who's your boss? You are. So it could be good or dangerous, depending on, what your big why is. If you don't have a really powerful big why, well, then you're just kind of in here, see what happens. And that's okay too. Lead gen. And then I'm going to do, as Aida called it, farming, right? What do you do when you farm? You furrow the grounds first, right? Loosen up that ground, get rid of all, clean it up, make sure it's primed, ready for seeds, and then nurturing. Realtors are really smart. They called it farming. I don't know. They called it farming. Probably one of the smartest things ever have come out of the real estate industry. We farm we farm. And so when a farmer farms and plants corn, do they expect to get results the next week? It's like, I don't know, 4 or 5 month crop, right? I don't even know. We live in Jersey. It's like the biggest corn crop state in the nation. And so, but it certainly can't be more than a 6 month crop. Joe, you have any knowledge on that? You usually have. I just woke him up. He was false, my voice. Okay.
Cranberries are the largest product in New Jersey.
What? Yeah.
Ocean spray, cranberries. It's the dry.
Those two guys standing in waiters.
Yeah.
It actually used to be onions.
Yeah. Now it's cranberries. The Pine Barrens, the dry soil in the Pine Barrens is perfect for cranberries. That's exactly where it is.
I was looking at the turn. I was looking at the turn time. I'm sorry.
Soybeans. I didn't realize that we had so much soybeans here too. I had no idea.
Yeah. I was looking for the turn time on a corn crop, but I'll Google that and get back to you guys. But my point is, it doesn't come overnight. Farm, if you again, if in your schedule you say, well, I'm going to lead generate for 90 or 120 minutes, and it's going to be between 9:30 and 11:30, because I know my kids who are homeschooling are going to be homeschooling from 9:30 to 11:30. And then, if they break at 10:30, because, the schools today, the kids got to break every hour for potato chips or whatever. So they're going to put their snack outside of their door and let them know that at snack, here's your apple juice, Honest, with 40% less sugar, of course. And then you got your snack of pretzels or your little tangerine, put it in a bag and say, Mommy, Daddy loves you. Here it is. Don't bother me. That's a $10,000 idea right there. That one idea will make you $10,000 this year. All right. And then that's lead gen. And then you have farming. I'm going to dedicate myself to farming. Well, once you pick your area, your zone, and you've downloaded the streets, and then you've gone to Cole Realty Resource. Joe Landon, I think, is the official Cole Realty resource for Cole Realty in the Market Center. And so he offers regular classes on that, I think once a week or something like that. And once you download your names and numbers, and you order your 6 months, again, you want to order 6 months, it is a larger initial outlay. You don't have to pay for the postage until you use it every month, but you'll get a better price on printing if you download all 6 months. If you print out all 6 months, order. We use Vista Printing. Vista Prints is cheap enough for me. So, and then what's another form of lead generation? I mean, I know there's so many that I can't even remember what Aida said. So give me one more.
Get your face on the shopping cart.
Yeah, have some kid sit on it.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie, I see Matt Weiss's face every single time I go to the grocery store.
Oh, yeah.
So let me qualify what that is. That's not prospecting, that's branding.
Right.
That's not marketing, that's branding. Maybe it's marketing too, but it's branding. And I got news for you. I see the top agent in Cedar, one of the top agents. She's not the top, but she's a very good agent in Cedar Grove. She's on the Cedar Grove shopping carts. I just went to the food town for the third time in one day yesterday. So, like that is a cool branding. And when you're doing enough revenue and they say, hey, it's 250 or whatever it costs per month, you're like, $300 a month, 500 a month for branding. It's cool.
Question for you. Obviously, there's 31 people on this Zoom, and you've done this a million times, and there's a million, there's other agents, and we're all, obviously Keller Williams does it much better than anybody else, but how, if you were to give any suggestions, I don't know if this is later on in the meeting or somewhere else in the book, but if you were to give any suggestions on how Jerry Siracusa can differentiate himself from Fred, was that Buckner?
Yeah, close.
Or Susan Burns, if we're all going to be playing from the same playbook, right? And obviously we all want to make money and we all want each other to make money. How, is that where branding comes in? I mean, if you don't mind enlightening a little bit, how do you make yourself stand out, Eric, if you don't mind?
So it's a good question. And what area are you going to be working? And this
Wayne
question goes
and
for everyone. Yeah.
Wayne and Kittleon are my two top areas because that's what I know the best.
So you don't have to worry about any of these people on this call to differentiate yourself from us. I'm not going to be focusing on Wayne and Kittleon, and while Andrea might be focusing on Wayne, there's far better fish to fry when it comes to competition, right? Like Teresa Forte, like Matt Weiss, right? Those are the people you have to differentiate yourself from. So that's a really good question, Jerry. It's a valid question. You have a lot of people that you have to differentiate yourself with. And I believe that if you were to do farming, you're going to be, one aspect is, yes, you're going to be another of the 5 or 6 agents who farm that neighborhood, or 7 or 8, I don't know, right? But Fred will probably agree that it's not, there's 1,000 agents who will sell a house in Wayne this year. 1,000 agents, and it could be 2,000, it could be 900, but let's just for discussion's sake say 1,000 agents. And out of the 1,000 agents, there's probably less than a dozen who will consistently farm a neighborhood, the neighborhood you want to farm. But let's just say there's 8. 8 will feel like 80 to the people. Look at 80. No, you don't. You only got 8. They exaggerate it. And so, you could do it through your message. There's a realtor out of Montclair who's, I think, originally from like Harrison, Newark area, who does a good amount of business, young kid. And when he does his videos, Evan knows what I'm talking about. When he does his videos are so cool. Like, I've been doing this for 17 years. I've been doing video for 12 years, 10 or 12 years. I've been doing video. Joe, when were we in Fairfield? When were we at Icon Realty in Fairfield?
2009.
2009, 9, 10. So long time. And I'm like, I love this kid's videos. So his video speaks for itself and will turn off a handful of people, right? We'll be like, they're bombarding me with these stupid videos. But there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be like, that's clever. I remember his name. So you can do it through, like I send this card out, and if I send this card, like everyone's saying, hey, everyone's saying, I don't know who says it here. Free market analysis. Get your free market analysis. Everyone says that. But what I did is I put this picture on there, which is one of my listings, and I asked the question. I don't know. I think that's a little different, and it's somewhat compelling. When people see a line outside the door, they think, wow, yeah, success real estate. And then I'm trying to think, where is it? And then the only other way I differentiate myself is I give the results of this particular listing. 10 days on the market, 128, and I give them specifics. And then I say, even if you're in the just thinking about it phase, even you're just thinking about it, let's have a conversation. But in addition to that, Gary, I think the one way you can do it is by picking up the phone and doing what we all love to do, which is cold call. Because if there's 12 agents going after the same neighborhood, and I'm the agent on the phone, and I call you up and I say, hey, Jerry, it's Eric Melnikoff, Keller Williams Realty. I'm calling all the neighbors. Maybe you can help. You got a minute?
Sure.
Oh, I thought that was
That's okay,
hypothetical.
Jerry.
I apologize.
That's all right. I was kind of waiting for Joe or
absolutely,
Evan.
Eric. I have all the time in the world. I mean, as long as I don't have to talk to Fred, I'm fine.
Great. Hey, look, I'm sure you've heard there's a ton of buyers in the market right now, and there's virtually no real estate for sale. I mean, it seems like everybody's hoarding the homes, and I'm just calling to find out, have you considered making a move in the last 12 months?
No, I have not.
Excellent. You know what? I appreciate it. You're just the guy I want to speak to. How long have you lived in town?
20 years.
20 years. Okay, so I would assume you kind of know people. You know people when you, yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm looking for an allied resource, somebody who kind of has their ear to the. I don't know what the term is, so I'm gonna mess it up. But, has their ear on high alert. They know what's going on. They hear when people are coming and going. And have you heard of any whisperings of anyone else trying to make a move or thinking about getting out of Dodge?
I have not, but I could definitely listen up and get the pulse.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I really do. A lot of people, look, I have a really cool program. It's called Neighborhood Watch. Now, the Neighborhood Watch will allow me to help you keep your finger on the pulse of the market. You'll end up within a short period of time, if you're at a town event or a party or whatever, you'll end up being the one with the most knowledge, on what's going on in the market. What's the best email that I would send that to?
Okay.
And now I haven't done anything earth-shattering in that call, other than I was the one. Now he's probably getting, again, 5 or 6 phone calls a year from 5 or 6, not each agent 5 or 6 times a year, but about 6 or so agents are probably calling him as well. Some of them are even knocking on the door. And I look at them like, the agent knocked on your door? Oh, God, I'm so sorry. And I envy that agent. They're doing what I don't want to do. Hopefully the people think that's a little too aggressive, right? But if you want to knock on doors, I'd advise knocking on doors. Yeah, and even in COVID, knock on doors. And so there's very few agents you're competing with, Jerry, believe it or not. They know this book is called Contagious. It's by I don't know, I can't pronounce his name.
Yep, Jonah Berger.
Yep, Jonah Berger, Contagious. He talks about how the consumer only, give me a name of potato chips.
Lay's.
Everyone says Lay's. What's another one?
Wise.
Ruffles.
What's another one?
Pringles.
Hers.
Aren't they out of Brooklyn or something?
Doritos.
No, Doritos is Lay's.
Potato chips. He didn't say corn chips.
Doritos is owned by Lay's. Lay's is the number one. Wise. I would hope someone said Pringles. Not that I eat them at late at night. You know,
They're so good.
but there's only two. Your brain only has room. What's the number one toothpaste?
Crest, Colgate.
Okay.
Kind of falls off after that. So in Kinnelon, they know Matt Weiss and that Coldwell Banker girl. With all due respect, you know, that agent from Coldwell Banker or whatever. We call them the Kinnelon moms, right?
Danielle
That's what they are.
Fiorino.
What is it?
Okay.
Danielle Fiorino.
Ceray's the
He is definitely doing the mail thing. That's what I'm sure, because I get it every 6 minutes.
and guess what? She's doing it because she,
when making selections in our automated service,
Vin,
please press
mute your
or speak to
phone.
respond. For English, please remain on the line.
Listen,
Para continuar en
mute
español,
your
oprima el
microphone.
uno.
so
Please note, we are experiencing higher call volume and longer than normal hold
I got
time.
ADD. I can't. It's just Vin,
we
you
work
I think as the host,
mute
as
him.
the host, you can mute them
I
yourself.
can only get rid of them. I don't want to get rid of them.
Please press
There should be an option for you to mute him.
Department, press 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute everybody then.
Go ahead,
That's
mute
fine.
everybody, We'll come back.
For moving or inquiring about an appointment,
Mute everybody.
press 4. For assistance accessing your account online, press 5. For
Mute the
information on
microphone,
energy
press
efficiency
7.
programs, press 6.
Anyway,
For
I just
information about switching to
mute my-
natural gas service
can't hear
or
anybody.
adding additional
So,
gas appliances, press 7.
You didn't mute
For
everybody.
information on energy choice, please visit
No,
our
no, I'm
website at www.elizabethtowngas.com.
Vincent, are you there?
To repeat these options, press the star key.
Vincent!
Okay. So bring me back to where I was, Evan. Somebody. Where was I?
We're talking about the Kinnelon Moms Mob.
Right. So at the end of the day, you differentiate yourself by speaking, in my opinion, by
Literally speaking, or
literally picking up the phone and saying, "Hey, Jerry, it's Eric Keller Williams. Have we met before?"
No.
We haven't. I'm
No.
shocked. Hey, I'm your agent here in Kinnelon. I've sold one house in Kinnelon, but that's why I would say I'm your agent you want to go to in Kinnelon. And look, there's a lot, I'm calling all the neighbors. Maybe you can help me. I'm sure you're aware, there's a lot of buyers that want to move into town and simply not enough homes for sale. And I'm calling to see, have you considered selling in the last 12 months? No, great. We'll have a 2-minute conversation. I'll go to the next call, but before I do, I'll say, hey, Jared, and I'll say, hey, Jared, if I feel I'm able to get away with it, I'm going to start calling you. I went around with a sales guy, a manager, when I got into wholesale lending, and we would call on mortgage broker shops, and so we're going around to and you walk in and you go to the front desk, and let's just say, I don't know, let's say it was Joseph or Maria. No, I'm trying to think of a short name. Stephanie. So he said, let's say Stephanie was at the front desk and say, hey, my name's Eric. Oh, hi, I'm Stephanie. Hey, Steph. And then he'd be like, hey, Steph, the manager, can I speak to them now? And he kept calling her Steph. And we leave and I go, how long did you know her for? He goes, I just met her. I don't know her. But he spoke to her as if he was her friend. Only her friends call her Steph or what, what I'm saying? So, Er, he would call everyone Er, Jer, I don't know short Fiona or Susan. My sister's name is Suzanne, but Sue, but that's dangerous because then they might not sue. Anyway, so, at the end of the day, the way to differentiate yourself is to be personable. Get them to like you. And that's that's going to happen easiest if you speak to people. All right, we continue.
Fair enough. Thank you, by the way.
Absolutely. So the lead generation, I just want to go back to the screen share. Look, I'm going to let you read through this, but it's real simple. 2 hours a day of actual lead generation is highly recommended. And here it says, for every day you don't lead generate, 90 days later, you can expect no money. You don't want this to happen. You know, at the end of the day, your lead generation, this is a really good book. I would highly recommend it, by Jeb Blount. Good book. Awesome book. He also wrote another book called Objections. Great books. Fanatical Prospecting is a great book. Fanatical Prospecting book is suggested. Doesn't mean you have to be fanatical on your prospecting. If you just do it, 1 hour or 2 hours a day, that's fine. All right, so let's just make sure this is committing to daily lead generation. I had made notion that, maybe 2 hours is going to be lead gen, maybe it's an hour, maybe it's 60, 90. I don't know. That's your call. Then the other part of it is, what are the other two lead generations? You have farming. I know someone said it. Give me one more, just somebody give me one more example.
Open houses?
Open houses. I love it. Open houses. Open houses can be done daily, can it? I mean, I don't know if people are coming out to an open house today in the snow, but I can tell you that it snowed on Friday, and Saturday around the corner from my house, there was a line of a dozen or more people up the stairs to go to this house. People are coming out for open houses the day after a snowstorm. If you do an open house, if you say, hey, I want to make open houses, I would challenge you to not wait for Sundays or even Saturdays and Sundays to do open houses. I would challenge you to do one or two during the week. And, you can do a 2-hour open house from 4:30 to 6:30. Yeah.
That's what I was just going to ask you. Would you recommend doing them in the evenings then, if you're not going to do them on the weekends? Because I mean, I would assume some people still have to go to work. So you would say to do it in the evening then?
Yeah, I would recommend trying an evening and maybe like an 11:30 to 1:30.
Like lunchtime. Okay.
A lunchtime.
That makes sense.
Sure. Absolutely. The thing about open houses, just so we're clear, and this is not an open house course, but I just want to touch on the lead generation aspect of open houses. Some people on this call have gone to, have attended the open house class we gave a while back recently. And with open houses, it's not simply marketing your open house and having it out on whatever real estate platform like Zillow or Realtor.com or whatever. It requires marketing. And we've alluded to it before, prospecting is one form of marketing, right? Is lead gen. So if I'm going to do an open house next Tuesday or Wednesday from 11:30 to 1:30 or from 11:30 to 1, I'm going to download the phone numbers of the houses in proximity to the house I'm going to host the open house, and I'm going to call around. Hey, Elisa, it's Eric Melnikoff, Keller Williams Realty. Hey, I see that you're here at 123 Apple Street, and you may have seen the sign over at 234 Orange Street, right around the corner. We're hosting an open house next Tuesday from 11:30 to 1 o'clock. The open house is designed to, invite neighbors and your friends and family to get you guys an opportunity to see what this house is all about, to know who do you know that might be interested in moving into town. I don't know anybody. Fair enough. How long have you lived here? We've lived here for 25 years. If you were to sell, where would you go? Well, we're not selling for another 5 or 10 years, but if we go anywhere, we like South Carolina. Oh, really? What's down south? Well, we like this. Okay, cool. And you see yourself going there when? Like I said, my kids are in school. They don't graduate for another 4 years. So maybe after that. Okay, great. That's a nurture. That's a nurture. That's someone who you put in your database. Great. And when you say we, and who's your husband? Joe, I don't know if it's one. Yeah, Joe. And ideally, you're going to go in about 5+ years. Okay, great. Look, we have a really cool program for people who aren't leaving for another 5 to 10 years. It's called Neighborhood Watch. It's actually the same program that I offer the neighbor who's not leaving for another 1 year. It's a really good program for whoever is leaving at whatever time frame they're leaving. And it'll allow me to help you keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on right here in town, right here in our neighborhood. And this way, as the time draws closer to you pulling the trigger to actually make that move, you'll have a really good working knowledge of what's going on right here in the market. Is that something you'd find valuable? You would? Great. What's the best email? I'll send it to you. Do you want that monthly, or would you prefer it just quarterly since you're so many years out? I'll just send it quarterly. And then I'm probably going to send it every other month anyway. If they tell me 3-4 times a year, I'm going to send it 6. If they tell me call me in 9 months, I'm going to call them in 6 months. Okay. So
Eric,
there's
a question. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The neighborhood watch idea that you mentioned and stuff like that. Have you ever put that on any like mailers or any marketing or anything sort of kind of at the bottom that it's like, something to maybe appeal to them or catch their eye that says, if you aren't, if you do know somebody or you aren't selling, call me and ask me about Neighborhood Watch. If you're, just something like, have you ever done that? I'm just curious.
Yep. And you can. Is it on here? Well, so it's a great idea. It's not actually on these. My website's on here, but you could say something like, keep your finger on the pulse of our neighborhood right here. Go to, and you put your website in there. I use Real Geeks for that right now. And I can tell you that, and I know Neighborhood Watch is the same thing. I can see, I got a guy I've been tracking for 2 years. It was an expired from 2 years ago. I gave him a call. He wasn't ready. It was fine. I didn't push, put him on the Neighborhood Watch every single day. Okay, not every day, but a lot. The guy's on there looking at, give me a second. Sorry. Trying. Oh, there it is. There we go. There you go. There's it here. There he is. Interestingly enough, he comes up right here on my feed, and it shows me that well, there's a lot of emails from today, but it shows me that just a minute ago. Trust me, he's looking at it every day. So here he is. It shows me viewed the report. He viewed it on the 19th. He reviewed it on the 12th. He viewed it on the 5th. He viewed it on the 1st. He viewed it on the 30th. He visited my site visited on the 29th. Viewed. So it's really helpful. And it's ironic how I end up calling him the day he views it. Coincidental, I guess, right? So he's ready to list. As soon as they get his COVID shots, he's out of here. And so, he's waiting for me to be patient for him, and we're going to make it happen in a couple weeks. So, yes, I think that's very smart, Elisa, that if you're going to do a mailer. Now, you asked that question, is that in lieu of calling?
Oh, no. I was just curious, like, to throw it out there, if that's something you suggest possibly also doing, just to if you hit somebody with a mailer versus they just don't pick up their phone because they don't pick up for people if I cold call somebody in the neighborhood and they just choose not to answer or choose to just get me off the phone and I don't
Absolutely. Very, very smart thing to do. I think putting it on putting on a mailer to let people know that you offer this Neighborhood Watch is a valuable thing to do. All right. if we keep going down, does anyone know, I mean, they're just asking a few questions here. I figure let's just get this out of the way. Does anyone know what the average it takes to get a buyer to sign a contract for to purchase? In other words, let me just see how I pose this question. How long it might take to get a buyer or a seller to sign that listing agreement with you? From the time you make the initial contact. So,
Between 5 and 7 contacts?
who said that?
Fred.
Fred. Yeah. Yeah, and that could take 5 to 7 weeks, right? If you're calling them once a week. Anywhere from 0 to 60 days, obviously, depending on your market and how things are going in your market. They're saying here that it's 30 to 60 days. Again, depending on, it all varies. But what that means is that you just have to be okay with lead follow-up. Evan will tell you that he started getting a lot more appointments when he slowed down on his new lead generation and focused a little bit more time on lead follow-up. 70% of your business will come from lead follow-up. And I can tell you that I probably have lost a significant amount of business on an annual basis because my lead follow-up skills could be improved significantly. Maria Zamlut was going through my database, and I don't know, Maria, you didn't do that for more than a month or two, right? 2-3 months max?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just know of 2 off the top of my head. Do you know how many appointments I got from that?
I'm not sure. More than 2 or 3.
Yeah, I mean, some don't work out. But we've done, we've got listing paperwork waiting to be signed from one. I got another guy who wants to list his property with us. And we sent them the contract and we're just waiting for it to come back. So, lead follow-up is the key with that. But you have to lead generate every day to build your business and your contacts and communicate with the people about real estate on a daily basis. Looking at page 29, if you have that, the student resource PDF, the 2 megabytes one. On page 29, it talks about the lead generation funnel. So leads come in. Am I sharing my screen? No? Nope. So leads will come in. Your lead generation funnel has to be filled at all times. Okay, so it's challenging when you're chasing down transactions and you're managing the transactions. So you have to time block effectively, and it says here that the countdown to your payday starts when a lead becomes an appointment, not when you get a lead. Not when we, a lot of people, when we get leads, we get excited and it's good to get a lead, but it has to be an appointment with the buyer and seller. Then that appointment turns into agreements to work exclusively with you. So the mission, first and foremost, is to identify a lead as somebody who wants to buy or sell real estate at some point. And then at some point, that lead will turn into what I call a prospect, and you'll get an appointment from it. My old Professor Balatino is going to, in truth, we've had our appointment already. Now it's just a matter of getting the shots. But so we got that appointment. And then we identified that he wants to work exclusively with me, so we get an agreement signed. Once that agreement is signed, I now have protection and I have the ability to market his property to get him a contract. When I get him the contract, it's payday. So it's pretty cut and dry. Anyone have any questions on that at all?
I'm just wondering if there's a resource that you think would be good for figuring out a script when you're doing your cold calling,
Right here. I'll help
YouTube
you with that.
videos or,
Yeah, yep, that too. You newly licensed?
yes,
Okay, so you're probably Joe, is it Suzanne or Susan?
Susan.
So Susan,
Yeah.
okay.
You received an email and it has a bunch of scripts in there. In
Okay,
that welcome email, there are quite a few scripts in there that you can start with: chanting, writing, getting yourself familiar with. And then there's, like you said, you can go on the internet, you can go on Mike Ferry and you can get 20 different scripts.
okay. Yeah, I'm a little bit behind. I was just probably 3 weeks in.
That's okay. And you're in our coaching program, so you're welcome Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. We do, that's the day for that 30 minutes, we focus on scripts, objection handling scripts or what have you. I'm just seeing something here. Let's look at this. Page 30, what page are we on? 30. Calling every session. They asked a question here. I love questions. It gets us to think. Why can some agents make 100 calls a day and others fear the phone? Because successful agents follow this simple formula. Number one, they leverage powerful scripts. Suzanne. I'm sorry, Suzanne. My sister's name is Sue, and she hates both of those. So you don't call me Suzanne when we're mad at when we want her to tweak her. We call her Suzanne. Susan. I have to make sure. So is Sue okay too?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
So she brought the scripts. Sue, you brought the scripts. We have scripts available to you, and there's ability to practice with some of our agents here, and we'll give you resources to practice. They build the relationship. They build the relationship. They ask for the business. They ask for referrals, and then they come from contribution. That is a formula. That's a formula that is apparent in their script. And it's when you're properly, when you're well scripted and you're well rehearsed, it comes off naturally and it's more effective and it makes people respond and you're less inhibited, right? Because nobody wants to sit there for 3 hours or 2 hours and get rejected. Nobody wants that. So my suggestion is to practice your script daily, have a role play partner to practice with. I think I have 2 or 3 days available. I know Joe might have 1 or 2, I don't know, but it's, now he's all booked up. So, but there's agents on different various Facebook groups who are willing to practice. And when in between practices, you should be, Jeff Glover, I heard this at a training about 4 or 5 years ago that he was giving. He said the best way that he could recommend learning a script is to write it out every day for 30 days. So we have a real simple script. It's the nurture script, circle prospecting script. And it's not a long script, and it probably won't take more than 5 or 10 minutes to write out. And if you write it once a day for 30 days, your brain will internally, you'll internalize it, right? And then chant it, I would say no less than 6 times a day for 30 days, in addition to it. So if you write it out and it takes 10 minutes to write it out. It probably won't take 10 minutes to write it out. The longer script will take 10 minutes to write out. And then you chant it 10 times. Why stop at 6? We'll go for 10. Make it 30 minutes of what we call me time, right? Me time is not getting your nails and your manicure and pedicure and massage and all that. I'm saying for everyone, I get one too once in a while. And the reality is the me time is investing in you, investing in me. And I'm going to invest 30 minutes a day in me to learn these scripts so that I sound more natural. And when I come across better than the next person and they respond, it's a really cool process. And I don't have this anymore, but I had one of the big cork boards and I took all my checks and I recorded them. I copied them and made them about 50% bigger. And then I would write on there in red pen what the lead source was, expired, FSBO, blah, blah, whatever. And it's really cool when you take a stranger. I meet Fred for the first time over the phone. Fred, I saw your home expired on the market last week, and I just want to know, did you sell that? Is that accurate? And I say the right things to get Fred to respond. And I can't tell you how many times people have stayed on the phone with me and then said, you know what, Evan, have you ever gotten this? You know what? I'm going to say, I just want to tell you this. I've gotten 20 calls and I don't know why. You're the first one I'm speaking to. You ever get that? Evan's been calling for less than a year. But about a year, right? And he's following scripts and dialogues. He's kind of obsessed on them, which is a good obsession to have. So, practice.
Thank you.
All right. What happened?
I said, thank you.
Oh, 3 o'clock, we're done? I thought it was still 3:30.
Mastermind, baby, here we are.
Hey.
Starting on the mastermind, 3 o'clock.
Here. All right, guys. Well,
everybody stay on.
There you go.
I like that.
This is a good prelude. Go for it.
I like that pitch. Thank you. So, yeah, thanks everybody for joining here. For those of you who haven't been